they didn't give us the whole week off. Like, they seem right.
Then we just stay longer in the summer.
I wish we didn't have fall break or spring break.
Why? I like them.
It's a whole month of.
So again, we are solving systems. We have the same goal that we've had this entire time. We're trying to determine the ordered pair that works for both equations, right? So where would the two lines intersect on a coordinate plane? So we have 3x plus y equals 6 and 3x minus y equals 0. Oh, wide ruled? Yeah. Okay, are you four going to need new seats? Zach? I don't hate your singing, it's just not a good time for your singing. Are you in choir?
I'm not.
I think you might want to consider it.
I can imagine.
Okay, so like I said, we're going to be eliminating a term. We're either going to get rid of the x's or we're going to get rid of the y's. So I want you guys to put your pencils down once you have these both copied. We're going to do look, listen, learn. Make sure we all know what's happening here. So this is going to become like an addition problem. We are going to combine these two equations, right? So what's 3x plus 3x?
6x.
So I'm going to have 6x. And then what's 1y minus 1y?
No, nothing.
The y's canceled out. I eliminated the y's. And then what's 6 plus 0? 6. So now I just have 6x equals 6. X equals 1. So I eliminated one of the variables. Now this was set up to be pretty easy, right? So you could like see how it's happening. You will eventually have to make decisions on which variable you want to get rid of. You might have to multiply the entire equation by a value so that you can create some easily eliminated variables so that they cancel each other out. Okay, so now I need to find the y value. How do I find the y value? I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to substitute it, right? So I'm going to take this 1 and I'm going to pick one of the equations to put it in. It doesn't matter which one. 3x plus y equals 6. 3 times 1 plus y equals 6. So then I get y equals 3, right? Because I would subtract that 3 from both sides. Y equals 3. So my solution is 1, 3. So like I said, most people prefer this method. Okay, let's do another example. I'm going to combine these again. The y's cancel out, right? Negative 2y and positive 2y, those are now eliminated. 1x plus 1x gives me 2x. Negative 7 plus the 5 gives me negative 2. So you're combining, right? If I was adding those two numbers, that's what I would get. One of the biggest mistakes is some people will just put x here instead of the 2x. Divide by 2, x equals negative 1. I'm going to put that back into one of the equations. I added the 1 over here. So when I add this 1 to this side, I get negative 6. I prefer it. Well, not yet. It doesn't take as much work yet.
Which method do you think is like the quickest to get?
Probably elimination. I think substitution just is tedious. And graphing is great, but it doesn't always work. Like you end up with weird slopes, and then you're like, when are these ever going to meet up?
Substitution is my favorite.
Substitution is? Okay, let's go on to the next page because it's going to take up a little space. Notice that I left a little space here. That was on purpose. Leave a little space right here. Okay, who can tell me why is this one a little bit different than the one we've already done? The other two we've already completed. Why, Christian?
Well, because you can't get rid of the y's.
Can't get rid of the y's, can't get rid of the x's. So this is where it becomes choose your own adventure again. You have to decide which equation, or both if it needs to be, do you want to multiply by something so you can eliminate one of the terms. Okay, so for example, I could multiply this first equation by negative 5. That would then give me negative 5y, and that would cancel out. I could multiply the second equation by negative 2. That would give me negative 2x, and then the x's would cancel out. It's up to you. You're going to get the same answer no matter what. I'm going to multiply the top equation by negative 5. But if you want to try the negative 2 for the bottom equation, and we can see where we end up, obviously we'll have the same answer. Okay, so I'm going to take this whole equation and I'm going to distribute negative 5. This will force me to cancel out the y's. So I'm going to end up with negative 10x minus 5y equals negative 35. And And then the bottom equation will stay the same. Now I can cancel out the y's. And I get negative 9x equals negative 18. Right, because negative 10 plus 1 is going to be negative 9. So x will equal 2. Unless you did something different, like did you do solve for y's? And then I'm going to take that 2. I'm going to use this second equation because it just looks easier. Who just asked why I'm writing so fast? It's because I want to be able to get my pencil out of the way so you can copy. Right, so I write quickly, so now I'm out of your way. You're not held up by my slow moving. So my solution is 2, 3. How are we feeling? Confident? Okay, we have 3 more. We're going to do 3 more together. Yep. I don't know. I don't know.
Me and Grady keep our seats.
After Thanksgiving break? Maybe.
Me and Grady work both together.
I actually work so hard.
I know.
Next to somebody.
You know Kale really well.
Yeah.
Oh, you know him. I never said you liked him.
Okay, I need somebody to tell me what would you cancel out and how would you do it?
The x is by multiplying the second one by
2.
Okay, you could multiply the second equation by negative 2. How else could you cancel these out? How else could you get creative? Charity? Well, if you multiply them all by 3, you still won't have anything that cancels out. But if you multiplied the top ones by 3, what would you have to multiply the bottom ones by? Christian?
5.
You'd have to multiply it by 5. Or one of them would have to be negative, right? So that the y's become a positive 15 and a negative 15. Okay? But I do agree, this is the negative 2, but the second one is probably going to be our best, easiest way. So I'm going to multiply all of these by negative 2. Well, the 3 is fine, but then you have to make sure you do something to the other one so they all, right? So now we have negative 8x So this one's actually kind of nice because when I cancel them out, that's all I have to do. Negative 5 plus 6 is just 1y, and 11 minus 10 is 1. So that one was a little bit less work. A little bit. Just make sure you put your x and your y in the correct spot for the solution. It's 2, 1. Okay, I'm going to go on to the next paper. We don't want things to be too crowded.
Could you just multiply this by -1?
We have to do something else first. Okay. All right, what do you notice about these two equations that's different than the ones we've done before, Grady?
The y is alone.
Well, the y is alone, okay? What else do you notice? The other ones were what? How were the other ones structured?
Structured the same as the top one.
They were in standard form, and the second one is very much not in standard form, right? So we're going to rearrange, right, so that we can have the x's lined up with the y's lined up with the constant, okay? So we're going to write ourselves a note to rearrange. So if I wanted to rearrange this, all I would need to do is move this 4x over here. How am I going to move this 4x over here? I'm going to subtract the 4x from both sides. So now I have negative 4x plus 2y equals 6. So it kind of did the elimination for us. So now I have 4x plus 3y equals 14, and negative 4x plus 2y equals 6. I don't even have to distribute anything, right? The x's are going to eliminate each other. Now I've got 6y equals, excuse me, 5y, thank you, equals 20. Y equals 4. So then I'm going to take this 4, put it back into an equation. I'm sorry? I think you give me too much credit, Sophie.
all my teachers, you guys have to teach the same thing every period.
We don't mind. It's different with different people, right?
I didn't know you could have. I thought we were selling it for the wife. I forgot they did that.
They literally have to teach
I was
the
like,
same thing
why?
every day.
Now I will tell you there was the year that you guys came every other day. Like I loved it because I had half as many students. It was great. I did not like that I taught the same thing 10 times because you had to do it 2 days in a row, right? Those were some long days. But I only had half the kids, so it was like pros and cons.
I would never do our middle school teacher.
By the 10th time, I was like, you guys, I'm sorry. It was tough.
Just record it.
Right? I recorded every lesson that I did so that kids that were home could do it at home, just like I'm doing now for our friends.
Just remember when COVID was at its peak and the streets were really empty? Like I saw TikTok on the computer and like the streets were really empty because you weren't
Those were interesting times.
like telling your kid like we were actually
I never
together
had
for like the street.
Okay, we have one more example.
Look at Tyler
Yes.
trying to frame.
I realized that.
He spelled my name wrong.
Okay.
Everyone is number one.
There we go.
Well, at least part of it.
I hope you throw this away.
So right away, you know you have to rearrange the second equation because it's not in standard form. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to subtract this 4x. So now I have negative 3x plus 5y equals negative 7, and negative 4x minus 3y equals negative 2. Okay. So we had to rearrange. Now we have to figure out which one are we going to eliminate and how are we going to eliminate it. Who's got ideas? Remember, I want them to cancel out, right? I want to eliminate something. What if I multiplied the top equation by 3 and the bottom equation by 5? Yeah, you can do that. You can choose different things to multiply them by as long as you do it's proportional for that equation, right? So I'm going to multiply this by 3 and this by 5.
Oh, I see what I did. I did the x's, but those are both negatives, so then
And then I will be able to eliminate my y values.
I'm gonna get contact with my bosses. I'm not walking around school. That's not bad. It's just not for me. I used to have glasses, so You're right. And it looks like it's fake glasses. I don't know. It looks like I'm just trying to be cute. Real high. That Long nails, I can dollar. Swimming pool.
Had a pretty ugly X value there. This is why we're glad we're not using a graph, right? That would be terrible.
That would be the worst.
Unless you went up by
thing to
like
get
three.
by.
I don't know, that'd be really difficult to graph.
Like 1 point.
Got 2 prime numbers there. Kind of hard.
I feel like
So then we're going to put that X back into one of the equations.
What? Oh no. That has to be the wrong answer.
No, they're not always going to be like pretty whole number values. What? No. Maybe. No. I mean, I made them up last year, and now we're just duplicating it, right?
That was like, make me want to.
Whoa! Do I need a report you to speak about?
Buddy, I was
What's
talking about
93
the
divided
boys
by
I named
29?
my pencil. I'll be my business.
Well,
It's 93 divided by 29.
let me get out my calculator here.
I'm gonna guess it's 3 misses.
Hmm?
I'm gonna say it's 3. Remember that fraction
31
is
times 3 divided by 29.
Was I close?
Hmm. This is such a pretty number.
Wait, does that say 5Y?
It is.
I think all my numbers are wrong. I'm not joking. I think like I have my access to my.
It's just fractions. Like we're doing the exact same math. It's just fractions. I'm pretty sure.
Or 31. What does that say?
Negative 93 over 29.
How am I supposed to know what that is plus 7? Or
what is that?
if I add it to 7?
Okay. So if we add this,
If I get any fractions, I
I was?
Yeah.
What was it? I was close.
I don't disagree.
guys, we can do this. Especially if we have a Desmos calculator, right?
I don't want to open it.
What
like
is that
that.
last one?
I'm gonna see here. Yeah.
It's negative 10 over.
I am. What the freak is
It's 5
So it is, wait for it, 5y equals negative 110 over 29. Don't give up. Don't give up. We can prevail.
Wait, is it this much? Why did you get this? Why did you get this equation?
I mean, sometimes you just have to deal with fractions. It's fine.
I dare you to graph that. We'll make a graphic.
Negative 22 over 29.
That's not that
Woo!
Why did we need color pencils?
Yeah, why'd you tell us to grab color
I think I forgot to take that off the screen. You didn't really need a color.
I don't think this is gonna be a little bit harder to grab.
Did you guys have the best time doing that problem?
I had the most fun time.
2 thumbs up?
Are we gonna have equations like this?
No, of course not.
Why did we do this?
Sometimes, you guys, you all have access to a beautiful thing called Desmos calculator. It did it for me.
Where's the apple out?